Hey folks, welcome back to the Edupedia world, and I am Abhinay Gupta. And today again we will be continuing with the discussion on the professional ethics, right, which is guided by the Chartered Accountant Act 1949. Now in the professional ethics we have already seen the crux, right? We have seen the blueprint of how the schedules, the part and the clauses are aligned, right? We've also seen what professional ethics is exactly in our previous class, right? Today we'll be dealing with some disciplinary mechanisms, right? Because you need to know that, okay, if we are talking about professional ethics, if we're talking about professional misconduct, if we're talking about punishments, then who is the authority that has the right to punish us, right? How does the entire procedure of punishment goes through? Because when we start with the clauses, right, it'll take long classes to complete the clauses, right? So before getting into that, I just want to make things clear to you. Okay, so today we'll be discussing about section 21, the disciplinary mechanism. Now we know that there is a council in the institute, right? The central council, the regional council, all the councils over there. So the central council, right, what they do is they issue a notification, right? And with that notification they establish a disciplinary directorate. And this is a body, right? A disciplinary directorate as per section 21 is a body. Now this body is basically headed by an officer of the institute, who is designated as the director, right? The director of discipline, to be specific. And along with the directors there will be other employees, right, who will be authorized to make investigation. And when do they make investigation? When they receive any complaint or any information that yes, something is going wrong, or they receive a complaint by some other person that yes, this chartered accountant may be guilty of professional or other misconduct, right? Because we feel he is not carrying on his duty as he is supposed to. So if any such matter, such information or such complaint comes, then these employee of the disciplinary directorate, they verify it, right? They investigate into the matter. So to start with, the first thing in the entire loop starts with the complaint against any member of ICAI. So anybody, right, anybody in the world can make a complaint against any member to the ICAI, right? And when the complaint reaches the institute, right, it is basically handled by the disciplinary directorate. The employees over there, they start the investigation as soon as they receive the complaint against any member. So whenever the information is received or the complaint is made and the employees get into an investigation, the director will have to decide, right, whether or in which schedule is that offense or that misconduct falling in, right? So after the disciplinary directorate, they receive the complaint, the first thing the director of discipline does, right, is prima facie decide as to which schedule does the offense or the misconduct belong to, right? So you know that basically you have two schedules, either the first schedule or the second schedule. So the matter of misconduct, right, that can fall either in the first schedule or will fall in the second schedule. Now before starting this chapter, right, this is one thing I'm telling you which is not mentioned anywhere in the act, but that is a general observation, right, that the matters that are covered in the first schedule, right, it is basically the matters that occur prior to the audit assignment, right, and the matters that are contained in the second schedule are generally the matters that occur after the assignment is taken over. That means after the assignment has started, right? There is no such disclaimer or there is no such bifurcation between the two schedule anywhere in the act, right? This is just an observation. So I'm just making a disclaimer that this is an observation. This is generally what happens, what I have seen so far in both the schedules, right? There is no mandate, there is nothing written anywhere in the act about it, right? So the director will decide that whether the offense is a matter of the first schedule or is it a matter which will be contained in the second schedule. If it is a matter contained in the first schedule, right, then before whom or which body is authorized to take charge of such matters? It is the board of discipline. So disciplinary directorate, under the disciplinary directorate, right, you have the director, and the director will decide that okay, if it is in the first schedule, he transfers the case to the board of discipline. And you know, now over here if that is happening, then you know that the board of discipline is a subordinate body to the disciplinary directorate. And if the matter by chance falls in the second schedule, he would refer the matter to the disciplinary committee, right? So now you get two more bodies involved, that is the board of discipline and the disciplinary committee, right? In the Board of Discipline, the Board of Discipline basically will deal with the matters that are contained in the first schedule, and the Disciplinary Committee will deal with the matters that are contained in the second schedule. Now, and one more thing you need to know, that if at this point of time the person who had made the complaint, right, if he withdraws the complaint, that okay, I don't want to make the complaint, then will the director have the authority to withdraw? Answer is no. The director will again refer even that withdrawal to the respective body, either it is the Board of Discipline or it is the Disciplinary Committee, right? And then they will judge the matter, they will investigate, and then they will see that okay, if the circumstance so warrant, they can permit the withdrawal. Otherwise, once the case has come, once the complaint has come, they can take charge and go ahead with the procedure. Why? Because it is not always considered a complaint. If they are taking it back, right, still the Board of Discipline or the Disciplinary Committee, they have that information that yes, the chartered accountant may be guilty. So if he finds after investigation that he is guilty, then no matter that the person who has complained has taken it back, the Board of Discipline or the Disciplinary Committee can still proceed ahead with penalizing or punishing that person, or in short, that member, right, to be very specific. Now, what are the kinds of punishment that these two bodies they give? Or I would rather say, what are the punishments that these two bodies are authorized to give? There is a limit to the punishment by both of them, right? So if we take care of the case of the Board of Discipline, then they can reprimand the member. Do you know what is the meaning of reprimanding a member? It is either you criticize him, you scold him, you call him into the office and you say, yeah, this is not the way you do it, and you try to make him feel guilty. It's just a lecture, right? You're scolding him. That dude, this is not what is to be done. Don't bring disrepute to the name of the institute. You are the member of the institute. Please behave yourself that way. Follow the due diligence. Follow the professional behavior. Right? That is just reprimanding. Right? So the punishment is that they can be reprimanded. You know why is it considered a punishment? Because once you become a chartered accountant, right, you have your reputation, you have your ego at a high. So, and nobody in the market, they reprimand you. If you go to the client says, oh sir. I would share it. You know, when I used to go to a client, even if it's a listed company, then even the managers, senior managers over there, they used to call me sir, although I was just an intern at KPMG. You know why? Because I was an auditor. The partner, he used to come just at the time of the review or something, or if there is a meeting. Senior manager once or twice to take the management and to see if everything is working well. Basically, either there is a manager, or if the client is not at that high level of fees, if I'm talking in terms of fees, right, if the fees is not so great, then the manager would want to utilize his time somewhere else, and the client is left at the stake of the senior and the intern, right? So even if you are an intern over there and you have 2-3 members in the team, then you are an auditor, you are like the boss, and people call you sir, right? So even from the articleship time, you have that repo, you have that built up. So after you become a chartered accountant, you have that. So you are like the boss, right? So if somebody scolds you at that point of time, it is kind of a punishment for you, right? Second is that the Board of Discipline can remove the member's name, right, for 3 months, right? That means for 3 months the member will not be considered as a member. He will have to surrender his certificate of practice as well if he has one. And third is that he could levy a fine of up to rupees 1 lakh to that member. For 1 lakh rupee, that is too less, right? But again, look at it when the act was enacted, 1949. 1 lakh rupee was a big amount then, right? Still you have 1 lakh, right? I'll take you to the next case where you'll be ashamed of the fine or the penalty that is charged, right? Stay tuned for that. I'll come back to that. So over here, what you have seen so far is that if it is with the Board of Discipline, they can reprimand, they can remove the member's name from the register for 3 months, and they can levy a fine up to rupees 1 lakh. Now what if it is an offence of the second schedule and the matter has been put before the Disciplinary Committee? What are the kinds of punishment that the Disciplinary Committee can levy? So again, reprimanding is one common thing, right? It doesn't mean that okay, if you fall in the first schedule you can be scolded, and in the second schedule you will not be scolded. No, reprimanding can be done in any schedule, anybody, right? Second is then they can again remove the name. But the point to be noted over here is that they do not have a limitation of 3 months, right? They have a higher power. Their power is extended, so they can remove the name for a period of up to infinity. That means your name can just be striked off and you will not be a member anymore. or if they want, they can remove the name for any defined period. Right? They can say, okay, we are removing a name for 6 months, 1 year, 2 year, whatever be the period. That is up to their discretion, and they can permanently also strike off your name. Right? And the fine that they can levy can be extended up to rupees 5 lakh. Unlike the Board of Discipline, where you could be removed for just 3 months and the fine was rupees 1 lakh only. Over here you could be removed for your lifetime and the fine could be levied up to rupees 5 lakh. Right? So that is the disciplinary mechanism. Once you get the complaint, it comes to the Disciplinary Directorate, where the employees of the Disciplinary Directorate, they investigate into the matter, and the director prima facie sees whether it falls under the first schedule or the second schedule. If it falls under the first schedule, the matter is shifted to the Board of Discipline. If it falls under the second schedule, the matter is shifted to the Disciplinary Committee. Right? And then they evaluate the matter, and if they think fit, they can reprimand the member, they can remove his name, and they can levy fine. Right? In the case of Board of Discipline, they can reprimand, remove the name for 3 months and fine up to 1 lakh. Whereas in the second schedule, in the case of Disciplinary Committee, they can reprimand, remove the name for infinite period, and levy a fine up to rupees 5 lakhs. Clear with that? That is basically the disciplinary mechanism. Right? Now there is a different situation, right? That even the member can be aggrieved by the punishment which is levied by the Board of Discipline or the Disciplinary Committee. Right? So if there is any member who is aggrieved by the order of either the Board of Discipline or the Disciplinary Committee, then he can file an appeal within the next 90 days. Right? And whom does he file the appeal to? He can file the appeal to the Appellate Authority. And then what is the power that lies with the Appellate Authority? What can they do with the order that was passed by the Board of Discipline or the Disciplinary Committee? So the Appellate Authority has the authority to either confirm the order passed by them, to modify it as it deems fit, or to set aside the order completely. Right? That okay, there will be no penalty at all. Or they can modify, okay, you have levied a penalty of 80,000, I say it will just be 40,000. Or you want to remove the name for infinity, I say okay, 2 years is enough, I guess. Right? So that is how they modify the order. Right? Now if we talk about penalty, they can impose the penalty, that is higher penalty. They can set aside the entire penalty, they can reduce the penalty, or they can enhance the penalty. Right? When we say they can impose the penalty, that is a situation when the Board of Discipline or the Disciplinary Committee, they did not impose any penalty at all. But now the Appellate Authority, they think, no, although you have appealed, but now we find that your misconduct, right, was even serious. So now we'll impose some penalty on you. Or okay, I don't think it was so severe for them to levy penalty on you, so I set aside the penalty. Or third is, okay, they say 80,000, okay, let it be 40,000. And the fifth is, okay, they say 80,000, take it up to 4 lakhs. That is in the case of Disciplinary Committee. We know that the Board of Discipline can issue a penalty of up to 1 lakh, but the Appellate Authority can increase it. Right? Keep that in mind. Next, they can remit the case back to the Board of Discipline or the Disciplinary Committee. Okay, I give you a chance, please reconsider the case. Right? And then as per the reconsideration, listening to both the parties, decide and then levy the punishment whatever you want to. Right? And otherwise, at last they have been given a general power and open scope to do whatever they want to do, and they say they can pass any order as they deem fit. Right? So when you have already given that clause, I don't think there's a value of the above 3 clauses. When they can do whatever they want, why do you say they can do this, and they can do this? Just say they can do anything they want. Okay. Now, remember when we were discussing about the penalty of up to rupees 1 lakh, up to rupees 5 lakh, I told you that there will be one more penalty that we'll be talking about which should actually not have existed. Right? It's more a humor than a penalty. Yes, I'm talking about section 24. Penalty for falsely claiming to be a member. Now this is not a penalty that is levied on a member. This is a penalty which is levied to somebody outside the purview of the institute. So say there were 2 friends, Mr. X and Mr. Y. Mr. X worked hard, studied well, and became a chartered accountant one day, started the job or started with practice and is running his firm well. Mr. Y could not clear his final exams, he did not become a chartered accountant, he did quit after a few attempts, and he went on for some other business, right? And now, maybe he went ahead with accounting. And today Mr. Y thinks, oh, I'm doing very good in the market, I have a good reputation, I have a number of clients, let me start signing their report. And Mr. Y holds himself out in the market as if he is a member of the institute. He says, yeah, I am a chartered accountant, you can give me your accounts. Although he gets it signed by Mr. X, right? But he holds himself out in the market as chartered accountant and he gets the client that way. So that is wrong, right? So he is falsely claiming to be the member. So the institute says that such people should be penalized. Why? Because now if they do something wrong, it's a bad reputation for the CA society on the whole. Although he is not a CA, but people think that he is a CA and he has done that mistake, right? So for this, the institute says we would levy some penalty on that person. And now the humorous part comes in. The penalty for the first conviction is only ₹1,000, right? And after that, you will set him free, and if you find him to be convicted for the second time, you increase the penalty and you lay a hardship on him with a penalty of just ₹5,000. Yeah, then otherwise there's one relief that that person is at least getting an imprisonment of 6 months. But the fine 1,000 and 5,000 rupees for this gross error, right? It is not a blunder, it is not an error, right? It is a crime. You cannot go out in the market and say I'm a chartered accountant, give me the work, and I get the work, get it signed by somebody else, right? And then you spoil the name of the institute. So those people, they should be punished, man, seriously, so that the rest of the world, they should not dare to do it. But how much do you punish them with? Just ₹1,000. So every second day he can come and he can say, okay, you want to catch me? Take 1,000, I'm going back. Please, I don't want the proceedings, right? So basically understand, because this act was enacted in 1949 and the limits have not changed, right? So this act needs to undergo revision, which will very soon be done, and this penalty will be increased. Like if you remember in the directors chapter, right? If you want to become a director of any company and you want to file your application, then earlier, as per the Companies Act 1956, right, you had to deposit a fee of ₹500 only, and that would be refunded if you win, and that would be forfeited if you lose. So who cares of 500, man? People can just walk up and say, I want to be the director, keep ₹500, keep my application, I want to sit in the meeting, right? Or please, I want the vote to be casted on my name as well. For fun purpose, people could do that. But that was going on till 2012. What was the value of 500 rupees then? Nothing. Instead, till 2013. Unless the new Companies Act 2013 came in, when that was passed, right? And then the limits changed to ₹1 lakh, right? Now nobody would just come up and say, no, I just want to try, I just want to see the fun. Please enroll my name, take the application, take 500 rupees. No, now people will think before giving 1 lakh rupees, right? It's not a matter of joke now. So similarly, even this penalty will be increased sooner or the later, right, when the act is revised. So until then, please remember that the penalty is just ₹1,000 or 5,000 and 6 months, right? 1,000 for the first conviction, 5,000 and 6 month imprisonment for the second or subsequent convictions. So I think that will be all for the day today. We have discussed the disciplinary mechanism and the hilarious penalty that is being levied. So we'll be done with our class over here, and there are some more provisions that we have to study, and we'll take it up in the next lecture. So until then, please allow me to sign off, and we'll see you in the next class. Stay tuned till then, and this is Abhinay Gupta signing off. Thank you and bye-bye.